What's up, YouTube? So today we're going to talk about if you are a hurdler, should you be doing speed work? Short answer, yes. If you are a hurdler, you should be doing speed work, and for multiple reasons. One, it works on your good sprint mechanics. Two, it will supplement your hurdle days. Number three, it's good for your overall fitness. And number four, it helps you to have more speed in between the hurdles and also to maintain your velocity through the hurdles. Okay, to start. So hurdling is not just about clearing the barriers. It's about being efficient and utilizing your speed and not letting the hurdles break your speed and break your momentum. That's really what it comes down to. Now, as a hurdler, it's always thought or was like a misconception that if you are a hurdler, that means you weren't fast enough to do the open 100, so that's why you do the hurdles. Now, definitely a 100-meter guy is going to be faster than a 110 hurdler or a 100-meter hurdler. But at the end of the day, you still have to be fast and very explosive because hurdling is a mixture of speed running while also leaving the ground and landing. So it's like a form of an advanced plyometric. So that's what makes hurdling so much different than sprinting. Now, should you be sprinting as a hurdler? Yes, you should. And the first reason is because it is to help build your speed and quickness in between the hurdles. Now, while the hurdles is a fixed race, you only get 3 steps and it is jammed pretty tight, you still have to be fast and reactive off the ground to achieve a very aggressive and fast 3-step to be able to then push through the hurdle and attack the next hurdle, so on and so forth. So by doing speed work, you work on similar mechanics, and if you are a hurdler, the speed work is just a means to an end. It's just to help you become a better hurdler. Not that you're going to become a sprinter, but just to use your sprints to make you a better hurdler. And so if you look at any hurdlers, Sidney McLaughlin, Trey Cunningham, Cordell Finch, they all do speed work. They all work on their max velocity and their max speed because they know that speed above anything else, it might be the number one factor in how well you do in track and field, at least in the sprints. So even though you just do hurdles, you need to be doing your speed work. Now, the reason that it helps so much is because when you sprint, the contact times are very brief and short, okay? And very similarly in the hurdles, when you leave the ground and land, if you spend too much time on the ground, we call it collapsing off the hurdle, and it ends up slowing you down. So similarly in your sprints, you need to be quick off the ground, just like in the hurdles. When you leave and land, you need to be quick off the ground. So sprinting helps to develop those mechanisms and functionalities, that we will use in the hurdle race. But it's not just all about the track speed. The work also will help level up your body in many different ways. So that transitions us to our next topic, which is overall fitness. So sprinting will develop our overall fitness as well as developing the fast twitch fibers and all the explosive mechanisms and traits that we want to have and inherit as a hurdler. Sprinting also provides lots of balance, and that's what is very critical when you're developing a hurdle program, is not hurdling too much, not sprinting too much, but really finding that good balance to make your overall hurdler, if you are a coach or you yourself, make you more balanced and receptive to all forms of neuromuscular demand so that you can meet the requirements for your event. So, and then of course it goes to our next topic, which from balance is you can't hurdle every day. So by using a sprint day to supplement your hurdle days is a very effective one for building that speed you need to maintain your speed through the hurdle, while also giving your body a chance to rest at a sub-max level if you are a hurdler. So hurdling versus sprinting, hurdling is more physically demanding on the body because you are going over barriers. There's a lot of torque that ends up coming in from your hamstrings, your glutes, and your hip flexors. And so to hurdle every day would mean a fast track down to getting hurt or not running as fast as you would like. So because hurdling is so stressful on the joints, ankles, like I said, hips, hamstrings, you can supplement those days with a sprint day to keep the velocities high, keep the intensities high, but not too high to the point where you end up hurt or injured. I remember a quick story about Aries Merritt, who is an American record holder for 110 hurdles, but I was at a track meet at Mount Sac, and I was talking to his hurdles coach. And at the time, Aries Merritt was about 30, I would say, so on the tail end of his career. But I was talking to the coach and I was asking him, how often do you hurdle? Like Aries Merritt, he's a world record holder. How often do you guys hurdle? And so he said, at this stage of Aries Merritt's career, he said they're lucky if they can hurdle 1 time a week. And when I heard that, I was like, 1 time a week? That's it? And he said, like, when he was at his peak, it was possibly 2, but even then it would be between 1 and 2. So anyway, the point being, even the world record holder was not hurdling every day because 1 is quality over quantity, but 2, hurdling is so demanding on the body that you would do yourself more harm than good if you tried to hurdle every day at max velocities. Okay, and it's similar with sprinting and the high-low method. If you sprint every day, you're going to break down. Now, hurdling is more demanding than sprinting. So imagine if you hurdled every day, what your body's going to do. So just use Aries Merritt, world record holder, as an example that you don't need to be hurdling every day. And honestly, if you are hurdling every day or more than 3 times a week, you're probably doing yourself a disservice. And a small correction could be your breakthrough to new PRs and new levels of athletic performance. Now, because it is so demanding, it's good not to do it every day. But here's another good tip, how sprinting can help as a hurdler. It works on your sprint mechanics. Now, this is something that's not often talked about a lot, and I'm thinking about making a separate video about this, but how sprint mechanics affect your hurdling mechanics, okay? So, as a sprinter, there is a certain way of running, and I'm gonna show a video here. So you see how the ankle cycles over the knee, right? And then the ankle comes around and strikes back underneath the hips, and it all propels you forward. You keep everything underneath your hips. Well, when you have a young hurdler, I see this a lot in high school. When you have a young hurdler with bad sprint mechanics, it affects their hurdling. So one example is, I've seen an athlete who tends to pop up and over the hurdle, right? But then when you break it down and look at the sprint mechanics, they don't have that nice cycling motion when they sprint, right? They tend to swing their ankles forward. There is no cycle. And how they run is kind of how they hurdle, like kind of just swinging their legs around, but there is no coordinated motion or intention behind those stride patterns. And so by doing less hurdling and fixing your sprint mechanics, that can indirectly, or no, directly, excuse me, help your hurdling by keeping you more coordinated and also making sure you're striking the ground and your body is cycling through more anatomically correct, so that when you do engage a hurdle or something that is meant to disrupt your sprint motion, you are better equipped to handle these forces. So example, if you have bad sprint mechanics and you try to hurdle, your hurdle is going to be terrible, because not only are you coming in with bad sprint mechanics, now they're amplified because now you have a hurdle in the way. So in short, the hurdle is there to throw off your sprint mechanics. So the better you can maintain your sprint mechanics through the hurdle, the better you'll be able to hurdle and run in between. If you have bad sprint mechanics to begin with, then hurdling is by default going to be a lot harder to deal with versus someone who has good sprint mechanics. Now that's out the way. Now you can teach them good hurdle mechanics, and then they'll be able to seamlessly hurdle and get back to their sprint form to be a better athlete. And another point too about sprint mechanics, if you watched the track season this past year, shout out to Grand Slam for what they put on. They had, hurdlers doing the open sprints, and then you can see the correlation with the fastest hurdlers are the ones who tend to win the races, were also the fastest, or in the top 1, 2, 3 of fastest 100-meter dashes. So that's not by accident. Those who tend to be faster in the 100 tend to be better hurdlers. Now, it's not a one-to-one correlation. It doesn't always correlate because, again, the hurdles is a different race. But the overall point is that you should be sprinting. You should have some type of speed to be able to get through the hurdles at a fast enough velocity, to be able to react, to strike the ground in good sprint positions and postures. All right, so now that we talk about how it's important, how can this help you? All right, so now I'm gonna give you some tips of what to do to supplement your hurdle days, so you're not overworking yourself but still getting the most out of practice, so that you're not breaking yourself down during the season and you can still keep getting better as the season. Okay, so a simple approach is, on your hurdle days, you would do less reps and then supplement those less reps with doing speed work before your actual hurdle. So for example, if you have, okay, we got 3 reps of 5 hurdles today, okay? Excuse me. Okay, so today, let's say your typical practice, you have 5 reps of 5 hurdles, right? Which is quite a lot, but 5 reps, 5 hurdles. You can take away 2 of those reps and then use those 2 reps for your speed work. So before you start your hurdle race, you can go 2 times 40-meter sprints, and then come do your hurdle practice maybe 2 times or 3 times 5 hurdles. Okay, so that's a way to break it up, so you're not doing all high intensity hurdling, which is very hard on the body, and you can activate yourself by doing your speed work before your hurdles, so that way you kind of get the best of both. Another example would be, if you already hurdled this week, then instead of doing a hurdle day where it's like 3 times 8 hurdles, then you can do plyometrics, or you can do something like some acceleration work, 5 times 30-meter sprints. You can really work in your sprint drills, sprint mechanics, so you can just have a whole sprint and drill day, because again, if you are a better sprinter mechanically, it will help with your hurdling. And I'm going to make a video about it because it doesn't always sound right, but I promise you that is the case. So those are 2 examples that you can use to help supplement the days where you don't want to hurdle every day but still continue to get better, because hurdling is tough on the body, and so availability is the best ability. You want to stay healthy so that you are able to compete and put up those numbers that you want to put up. So summing all up, speed work is a game changer, especially when utilized correctly. Look at the best hurdlers and you'll notice that they tend to have a fast 100, or they do train speed work. Grant Holloway, for example, does speed work. Trey Cunningham does speed work. Cordell Finch does speed work. Jamal Britt does speed work. Devon Allen does speed work. Like, all these guys do speed work. Devon Allen runs at 10.2 in the 100. Jamal Britt runs at 10.3 in the 100. Grant Holloway ran 6.6 in the 60. Like, these guys are really fast, and 6.6 translates to around like 10.1, 10 flat, right? So these hurdlers, the top hurdlers, are very fast and could run in open hundreds if they wanted to. But my overall point is that do your speed work. You want to be a better hurdler, get faster, and that will definitely help your hurdle race. And so, sum it all up, start simple, do a high-low model, don't overwork yourself, but again, make sure you do get your speed work in. Let me see. And yeah, that's all I got for y'all. So like and subscribe if you like the content. I'm gonna continue to make videos daily, and we're just going to cover stuff about track, hurdles, and how to make you a better athlete. All right, check all in the next one. Peace.